Hey, man.
What's up?
Boom! Happy Halloween! It's Halloween! Today is Halloween!
Oh, does this episode come out on Halloween?
Today is Halloween.
Do you know what that means, though?
That means it's our 6th birthday.
Yeah!
Happy birthday.
Hey.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Are you afraid yet?
All right. I don't like the energy of this at all. I would like you to take a step back.
Sorry, I'll calm down.
Blueberry Cantina.
Are you scared yet?
Yeah. What are we talking about?
The Hatman.
The Hatman?
Have you ever heard of the Hatman?
Okay, so you're saying the Hatman, not the Hat Man.
Yeah, no.
You're not casually
cool
being
hat.
like, the Hat Man. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you brought it up. So my head is abnormally large, and I have to custom order hats from this website called oddjobhats.com /TILLN.
Do we have enough clips of that to send to him yet? Like
No, we have
sizzle
to
reel?
keep doing this for like 15 years, and then we can be like, hey, this joke outlasted your company.
I was going to say, they'll be long gone by the time.
Maybe not.
Yeah, well. This is going to be a surprisingly normal thing. You're going to be disappointed at how not crazy this is.
That's how I end up naked in lobbies a lot, actually. Pretty.
Which stands for like deproxy hydrogen or something like that. I don't know. That's not
hydrogen? I'm trying to see the Hat Man. You know, and it's like things I learned last night. This is why no one listens to our show.
Have you ever heard of him?
No.
Oh, so the Hatman is...
is it the guy that's in my dreams? With his fedora?
Yeah. So you have heard of the Hatman.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Is that what it is?
Do you have a man in your dreams with a fedora? Is this a real thing?
Yes, the recurring dream that I have.
Oh, where he says it's finished?
Yes.
That guy has a hat?
He's dressed like a mobster.
Does he look like this?
Bro, I'm not joking.
Or what about this?
When I tell you the shiver that just came over my whole body, I like legit don't want to do this.
We got him, folks. I made that. I had someone design that for this moment. We're not talking about the Hatman. This is all a bit.
Was that your Halloween prank?
No, this is really the subject. But I wish I would have thought ahead that much to joke you like that.
Are we really talking about the Hatman?
Yeah, we're really talking about the Hatman. That's a real.
This is a real thing.
Someone else designed this as
I
a
don't want to
rendering
look at
of
it.
what
Please
they've
get it off
seen.
the screen.
Okay, sorry.
I knew you were going to do it. I legitimately, I am not a fan right now, and I want to get to the story so that I can be a little less afraid.
Well, probably going to be more afraid.
Because what you just did was like your counselor going, this man?
Was it this man?
Bro, I don't know if you can, I don't think it'll show up on camera. If you're able to zoom in and see literally the moment that my
whole body just
hair
tensed.
stands up, I don't like this.
Okay, wow, this is great. I'm so excited.
This is one of those episodes I will never re-listen to.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it because this is something that's been around for a long time.
I'm having a panic attack right now.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, and I don't know if I have conclusive proof of this, but it seems like the experiencers of the Hatman are typically in our age range, somewhere born between like the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
Is what it seems like. But the Hatman is honestly very similar to your experience.
Yeah.
People see the Hatman typically in dreams.
Okay.
It's kind of like a this man type of thing where it's like, have you seen this man in your dreams? Are you all right over here?
I'm listening.
I've never seen you this tense before.
I am not a fan.
Happy Halloween. A lot of people see him in their dreams.
I swear, Tim, if we get to the end of this episode and you go, I made all this up just to scare you, I'm going to be the Hatman in your room, dude. I swear, man. I am like on the verge of tears right now. Let's go.
People see him in their dreams, but a lot of people see him not just in dreams. They see him in real life.
I don't like that. I'm glad that he's stuck in my dreams. That's a good.
He can't get out. He can't
that is
get
something
out
I
of your
enjoy. Where I wake up and I go, I beat you.
I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some people, he's not. Here, I'll give a description. For our listeners. So the idea of the Hatman is that there's a situation that happens to a lot of people where they'll either in a dream or typically late at night, they'll see a man standing usually in a doorway, but maybe in a corner or some other portion of their room, just kind of observing them. Typically described as a malevolent presence. Not really, usually doesn't say anything to people.
Yeah.
Just sort of watches them, and people stare at them, and then for a couple minutes, it doesn't move. They're like, maybe it's a shadow, maybe my mind's playing tricks on me. And then it just like walks out of the room and like shuts the door or something like that. Some people, the Hatman will speak to them.
Yeah.
And will say eerie, strange things.
Stuff.
Something like it is finished.
Finished.
Very short sentences, or like don't go to this specific place, or
mine started reciting the Subway sandwich menu to me one time. Woke up and it was like meatball marinara, tuna, rotisserie chicken, cold cut combo. I was like, what?
What are you saying?
I was scared at first. And then he got to Italian BMT and I was like, what is happening?
I was like, this menu is really long.
Dude, it's so expensive.
There's
the
so
club, the Subway Club, they're different. Buffalo chicken.
The all new Subway pizza.
Spicy Italian. My wife comes to me and she says, this is real. She comes to me last week and she goes, I made up a sandwich of Subway. And I said, really? She goes, yeah, it's just pepperoni and salami. And I said, oh, the spicy Italian.
The spicy Italian.
And she goes, no, I made that up. And I said, you didn't. It's like on the board. They'd be like, oh, I made up a sandwich. Really? What'd you get? I got bacon, lettuce, and tomato.
I made up a sandwich. What'd you get? It's like a horn, but it's like round and like really little. And like
that's what I was trying to get to. But it'd be like if you said that at a concert where you're just like watching a band play and you go and you lean over and you go, hey,
I got an idea.
I got an idea.
What if we did something like one of these?
Did something like those? I just made that up.
That was my idea. He's already got it.
I hate that. Okay.
No, you don't understand. When I think of stuff, they appear.
So he's saying stuff that's like short sentences, maybe not saying anything.
Yeah, but usually pretty cryptic. Usually, sometimes like a warning.
Is there an explanation for why this is happening at the end?
Kinda.
Some theories?
Yeah,
I would love to know.
We've got some theories. We've got a lot of theories, actually.
My idea is that he's real because freaking...
It might be.
All right. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, and so he shows up in people's dreams. What's interesting is once people see him once, they usually start seeing him a lot.
I hate this. I want to stop. You're making this up.
I'm 100% serious. Once people see him once, they usually start seeing him with some sort of regularity.
Golly, man. I'm sweating.
I mean, it is kind of hot in here.
Okay.
And it also might be the Hatman in the corner.
Don't do that, man. Okay. So he shows up multiple times.
He shows up multiple times throughout people's lives. On rare occasions, there's some like rare outlier occasions where he'll show up with a posse. Like this. Like there he is with a couple friends.
Okay, straight up though, I'm not joking. I mean, mobster, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't see his face.
Yeah.
The guy in my dream has like what I would describe as like a Voldemort face, where it's
that's the thing. The face that is described is you can see eyes. Typically, they're like glowing eyes.
You can't see like
he has
you
no
can't
nose,
make
no
out
features, no mouth.
Oh,
yeah, that's what it's described.
I don't
usually.
like that I'm part of this. I do not like that I'm part of this.
I'm going to be honest. When I started researching this the other night,
you didn't make that connection.
I did not make the connection that this was the same thing that you experienced. I did make the connection. We talked about it in the Slenderman episode.
Yeah.
Way long ago that my brother used to talk about the man with no nose. And I'm like, I wonder if it was Slenderman or if it was the Hatman. That I need to call him and ask him if the guy had a hat.
Hey, you remember that traumatic experience you had as a child where you woke up and you felt like you saw someone in your room? I actually had forgotten about it till you just brought it up. Cool. Did he have a hat on?
Did he have a hat?
And would you say that was a normal size hat or like a large hat?
Like, did he have a big enough head where it's
What
like...
if you wake up and the guy is just like,
hats.
odd job hats? And you're like, what? Odd job hats.
If we say it enough in this episode, then I can pretty much guarantee
Someone's going to wake up in the middle of the night.
Wake up.
Odd job hats. That's not the promo they wanted.
Hey, but if it sells...
Jeez, man. Okay. But you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a very mob looking, like,
It's
and he shows up
very
with a posse. So
mobster-esque.
multiple shadow figures.
Yeah.
Did we talk about this? Like, I think that, of course people believed in ghosts. Because, like, a candlelight.
Yeah.
Was it you and I were talking about that?
in...
If you go to, like, a candlelight dinner or the power goes out and you see the stuff flicker on the walls, you're like, yeah.
We were talking about that in Orlando because Bree and I went to Disney. We did the Haunted Mansion ride, and they got a room where it's all candlelight. And I was like, well, no, duh, people believe
It's
in
looking at the
ghosts.
shadows, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, like, of course people believed in ghosts.
Yeah, because you got the shadow light or the candlelight, and then, they flicker. And the shadows just move around, and you're like, oh, that's a person. That's a ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
That's why I say with the lights on.
But so they would say that this guy was clearly the leader, though. Whenever he showed up with the posse, the Hatman was clearly the one in charge. And you could tell because of his hat.
Yeah. And he brought Vin Diesel and The Rock with two clearly bald guys with him.
So for a long time, this was kind of where it ended. Like, it was like people would have these dreams or these kind of waking nightmare type experiences where they would see the Hatman. But then something interesting happened around 2016. I don't know if you've heard of this. The Benadryl challenge happened. Do you know what that is?
Is that where you take a Benadryl and try to stay awake?
Well, so people learned that Benadryl, the like active ingredient in Benadryl is
meth.
Is DPH, which stands for like deproxyhydrogen or something like that. I don't know. That's not
hydrogen? Deproxyhydrogen? Okay.
I have no idea what DPH is.
I hate that you went for it. I hate that you were like, deproxy, which honestly would have covered the P. You didn't have to. Deproxy would have covered it. You didn't have to try to include it in hydrogen, dude. Also, if there's a P at the front, it's pronounced hydrogen. Jeez, dude. Hydrogen. Jeez. Okay. So there's a chemical. What does DPH do?
Oh man. So it's a deliriant. So
Okay.
Benadryl is obviously an allergy
Is
medicine.
it a thing where you try to take it and you just try to push through the sleepiness?
No. So it's
Because people have done that with NyQuil. People say you get like real messed up if you take a NyQuil and then you just push through and don't let you fall asleep.
I can't imagine taking like a normal dose of NyQuil and being able to stay
And then
up.
being like,
I like to power through that. That is a crazy amount of will.
yeah, I know. And they say the other side is freaking.
Should we try it?
No.
That is insane. I can't. Okay. Anyways,
Maybe
but
we should, but only like we'll put two pills on the table and only one of them's a NyQuil.
Only one
and
is
then the other one's a placebo.
And the other person just. Here's the thing. I fall for placebos all the time.
And the other one is just deproxyhydrogen.
So this Benadryl challenge, obviously, normally the normal dose for this is like 50 milligrams,
Okay.
and that's just for like normal, like
Allergies.
I got an allergy or like
Shoot, I didn't take my allergy pills today.
yeah, that type of stuff.
That was me realizing I didn't take my allergy pills. Like I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Whoops.
But when you start pushing that dosage up 300-400 milligrams,
Oof.
it starts to make you hallucinate because
Oh,
it's a
I
delirium.
can't believe it. Yeah, it's crazy. When you start taking medication at 9 times what you're supposed to, it does some pretty crazy stuff.
The side
Who would
effects
have
are
thought?
wild.
Maybe every doctor on the planet could tell you that.
Well,
Turns out, if you take more than the doctor tells you to, stuff happens.
Well, a bunch of teenagers realized, oh, hey, I can trip really hard on Benadryl, and that's an over-the-counter drug.
Yeah.
And so it's super easy to get their hands on it.
This
so
is
in, like,
right after they
2016
bought a mushroom pizza, ate all the mushrooms, and they were like,
I think I feel it.
and they're just having an allergic reaction.
They're literally dying.
And they're like,
That's the angel of death is what they feel.
I love this. This is great.
I'm so high right
I'm
now.
having so much fun right now. This is DPH, baby.
Yeah, I love mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
But this was an over-the-counter drug, so it's really easy for them to trip.
Sure.
And so they kind of got a bunch of teens were getting into it. And as they started using, they started increasing.
It getting Benadryl for sure. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode. If you like our show, please leave a review, leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube, and go check out other episodes. Here's one that I hate, the Lonnie Zamora incident. You know me, just not a big fan of the Alien episodes, but if that's your jam, that's out there. So go check that out. It's a very fun episode. I think you'd like it. I hated it. So anyway, back to this episode.
They started increasing their tolerance. So their dosages had to go up for them to be able to start to trip. Well, what was interesting is...
Speaking of tolerance.
What?
I was just thinking if you take that much Benadryl every day, the experience is not the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's what I keep thinking about. Like, I drink like freaking 800 milligrams of caffeine every day.
Oh, I wonder if caffeine makes you see the Hatman too.
Bro, I'm not joking when I'm like, I will do whatever it takes to never see that guy again.
Well,
also, whatever it takes to never see you again for doing this.
So, when a decent size of the population that was doing the DPH, the Benadryl challenge, there was a population of them on Reddit. There was a group on Reddit that was...
I was wondering where this
where
this
Reddit.
Seems like the Tide Podders.
Yeah, a very similar concept. So they're on Reddit. They're kind of, and they would kind of after every experience, they would do almost like a blog on Reddit about what they experienced on their trip.
Today is Thursday.
Also known as National Thursday.
Also known as, that's now you know what our TikTok feed is. That's a super niche joke.
But so they would kind of blog everything that was happening on Reddit. And but
you got to scroll through all the backstory before you get to the recipe of Benadryl, you know?
Oh my gosh, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
Are you referencing my tweet today?
No, I'm referencing just, recipes in general.
Oh, that drives me
nuts. Did you tweet about it today?
Yeah, I tweeted at Google today and told them to blacklist sites that do that.
It's not Google's fault, dude.
Yes, it is. No.
No.
Google has the power to bury them in their algorithm. And they should, because that's keyword stuffing is what they're doing. And that's against the rules on Google. And so they should not be allowed to be on the first page of
Keyword
Google.
Stuffing is actually what I called my Thanksgiving dish this year. It's funny you brought that up. So the recipe comes from my grandma, who... yeah, she's also known as the Hatman. Not ridiculous.
When the dosages started approaching 600 milligrams,
Okay.
more and more of these blogs on Reddit
Started getting darker.
posts.
And also incoherent. Like they were starting to post, and you're like, I took 600 milligrams. Italian BMT. And you're like, what? And like
They're just writing the stuff the Hatman told them to say.
And they're like, just typing, ha 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 ha, ja 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 ja, L, because you fell asleep for a second.
They're not doing it during the trip. They're doing like a post.
Yeah, but they're
postpartum.
hungover for sure. You think so? You think they're hungover?
I don't know. I've never done it. I don't know. Should we try? No.
I think one of us.
The other one gets a placebo.
The other one gets a vitamin C gummy.
That's the thing about it, though, to me, that stresses me out. Because one pill is 50 milligrams. And so for them to be taking like 600 milligrams, they're
taking like
it's
a
an
lot.
uncomfortable amount of pills. Anyways, and so they're kind of doing these little.
I didn't take my pills this morning either. Dadgummit, dude. But today is just off.
They're doing their little blog, and at 600 milligrams, people started to notice that they keep referencing this dude with like a brimmed hat that's showing up in their hallucinations.
Yeah.
But before that, it's just like spiders and like basic.
I also wanted to be clear.
hallucination stuff.
It's not like it's more of a fedora mobster hat. It's not.
It's not
like
a cowboy hat.
It's not like the hats that girls wear to Nashville.
Yeah,
the
it's not
Nashville
those.
hat.
It's not those.
Not those.
Yeah, it's not the.
I've never been spooked
It's not the
by a
worship
group
pastor
of
hat.
bachelorettes rounding a corner and I go, "Ah!" The Hat Man.
Yeah.
I have been spooked by some Yu-Gi-Oh nerds though,
because they
come
got
around the corner and
fedora.
go, "Whoa, there's a posse of them." A posse of them.
And so they started realizing that this was the Hatman that was happening in a lot of people's dreams.
Sure.
And then a kind of subgroup of this Reddit was like, hey, like, let's figure out who he is. And so they would intentionally go on these trips and they would intentionally take
To be like, tell us your name.
what do you call yourself? And he said,
Hey, are you new here? I'm just a youth pastor. Would love to know your name, man.
Can you fill out a disconnect card?
Hey, dude, it's so good to see you. Have you met my friend Tim before?
The sneakiest youth pastor flex. Oh no! All you gotta do is just fill out this card, drop it in the hat when it.
Okay.
Yeah, so they kind of started chronicling. Okay, hey, at 600 milligrams, you start to have a chance of seeing the Hatman. At 900, you see him every time. And so they started increasing their dosage where it was like, okay, let's just keep moving this up to where we know we're going to see the Hatman.
Jeez.
And it became a thing.
Are they doing this on their own, like by themselves?
Yeah. They're just kids on Reddit. They're Reddit kids.
What do you do if you've come home and your kid is downing 18 Benadryl tablets? Because like those aren't easy to open.
Yeah.
Like you gotta sit there and like, I mean, you gotta make a pile.
Yeah.
And then your kid's just like freaking
Full
M&Ms,
handful.
dude.
All full
like your
handful.
hand, he's just shaking them in his hand so it doesn't melt in his hand, you know? He's just freaking. And then freaking.
Yep.
Probably not with water, though. They're probably downing them with Monster energy drinks.
Probably.
Monster, an official sponsor of the Hatman.
Well, they started getting memed out. It's like, here's a actual, I think this is a t-shirt.
I can't take Benadryl because I owe the Hatman money and I don't want to see him. Jeez.
But it started getting memed out and became like a kind of a joke on Reddit.
Sure.
But kids were getting like legitimately addicted to Benadryl.
I want it to be known that I did not take 900 milligrams of Benadryl to see the Hatman.
No, people do see him naturally. There are natural occurrences of the Hatman, and then there are these, which are artificial, synthetic. And so these kids...
I got an all natty. My Hatman is all natty.
All hattie.
And hatty natty. A natty hattie.
Here's the thing. This community...
He's after me more than I'm after him. And that's kind of why the power dynamic... That's where the power dynamic shifts.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's actually a really interesting point that I haven't thought about, because a lot of these Redditors are the only ones where they get like positive stories of the Hatman.
I'm going to turn on him.
Where? Who are you?
Bro, I show up in his dreams.
I'm going to find you.
He wakes up, still sleeps in the hat. So when he lays down in bed, it's like...
He doesn't tilt the hat forward. He just, it's like kind of jabbing it.
It's attached to his head, I assume.
Yeah, it's part of him.
He wakes up and goes...
His neck is craned real weird. He's like, I got a kink in my neck. I got to go to the chiropractor every morning.
And I'm just over there.
Standing over there in your odd job hat. He doesn't even know what a baseball cap is. He's never seen
Odd job hats.
You come up to him. You get real close. You whisper in his ear. You say, I got an idea for a sandwich.
It's 6 slices of pepperoni and 6 slices of salami with provolone cheese, toasted with spinach, green peppers, and onions,
Vinegar and oil.
salt and pepper.
I call it the spicy Italian.
You spicy Italian. And he's like, I'll never come to your dream again. And it was too late for that.
And then you walk out, and then
You and I are linked now.
he immediately springs up and goes over to his laptop, and he says, "Dear Hat Reddit." I saw him again.
www.pareddit.com. I saw Jaron again. They all know my name.
They know your name. Yeah, they know everyone's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're, demons. So this group gets addicted.
Yeah.
And to both trying to see the Hatman and the drug. And it becomes like a really...
Because that's something you find your kid.
Yeah.
You come home, your kid's downing 18 Benadryl pills.
Yeah.
And you go, what are you doing?
Yeah, well...
Hopefully not like that. You don't go, what are you doing? Like you actually
like an
caught
80s
them.
sitcom dad.
Yeah. You go,
What are you doing?
What are you doing? And they go, I'm trying to see the Hatman. And it's like, we're going to take you
We're going to the hospital.
a fun little facility. And you might have to stay. It's like summer camp.
Yeah, you're going to stay there for a little bit.
No, you're not going to see your friends.
You can call the guy in the white coat grandpa if it makes you feel better.
Yeah. If it makes you feel better?
The doctor's like, he keeps calling me grandpa.
Yeah, I told him he could do that.
Oh, that's the only reason we're still keeping him at this point.
The doctor's like, yeah, I think he's like fully, he's just been here for 6 months. And after the first month, he quit talking about the Hatman, but he's been calling me grandpa and asking when he can go home for the last 5 months. And the dad's like, no, yeah, we told him he could do that.
He could call you that.
You gave him permission to call me grandpa? And you're like, yeah. And the doctor's like, I'm easily 15 years younger than you are. Why is he calling me grandpa?
We just thought I'd make him
I just thought it was funny, I guess. I don't know.
I just figured we're paying you a lot.
I don't know,
Gotta cut you
dude.
down a
When
little
your
bit.
kid looks you in the eye and says, I'm going to see the Hatman, you panic. And you
And
go,
his
let's go to grandma and grandpa's
His
house.
mouth is overflowing
He's like
with
freaking-
Benadryl pills.
Freaking popping out. He's coughing.
I want to see him. Oh my gosh. It's probably a good time for a disclaimer. Don't do this.
Probably a great time for a Patreon ad. So you can join us on Patreon, where we have a whole, it's basically like a Reddit just for us. It's a Discord.
It's like a Reddit just for us.
You know?
I'm still thinking about, I think I said this in the Discord the other day, but I'm still thinking about, I listened to, I don't know, some episode where you mentioned the Discord and you called Slack, Discord with Slacks.
Yeah.
And I think that's the funniest thing in the world. I didn't laugh very hard in the episode.
But you did
in real
later.
life, I laughed really hard. And I keep thinking
In
about it.
real life? What are you
In
talking
real
about?
life.
Is that what's happening outside of this? What are you talking about in real life?
Well, we're in kind of a bubble here.
Oh, okay.
This is the, Okay, so the Benadryl.
Okay, glad we're off of our 20-minute side rant.
The Benadryl people got really into this.
Yeah.
And it became a serious problem. So much so to where that's why if you buy Benadryl at most stores now, you need an ID. You have to be 18 or older to buy Benadryl now.
Yeah.
Because it became like an issue. And I loosely mentioned it a second ago, but I do feel like we should say it's like a
This is
serious thing.
stupid.
It's
Like,
a serious
don't-
thing. Like people have died from ODing
Yeah.
on this stuff, and it
Well, I'm glad you're telling me this after we did a whole 15-minute bit about freaking 18 pills in their mouth.
I mean, it's a funny
Chipmunk
bit.
style.
It's a funny bit, but it does make people do
Yeah,
really
stupid
dumb stuff, and
for
yeah,
sure.
so don't. And it's very addicting. So don't try it. Anyway, so the Hatman happens on these drug hallucinations.
Okay.
Happens on in dreams and in what's that sleep paralysis? Have you heard of sleep paralysis?
Yeah, where you wake up and you can't move.
Yeah, happens a lot with cases of sleep paralysis, and has become more and more common over the past few years. A lot of cases have been
The Hatman is more common now?
starting to become more and more common because it does seem like
What
it's
year
kind of
do we feel like it
into
started? I mean, like the
folklore.
Reddit stuff was like 2016.
Yeah, well, so what's interesting is in 2016, after the Reddit stuff, a guy put together a website called the Hatman Project, and where people could kind of submit their stories of their experiences with the
Okay.
Hatman, and they've got thousands of submissions. It's tough to say how legitimate all of these are. I've looked at some of them, and some of them, I don't know, they're suspect.
Sure.
The spelling's all over the place, and some of the stories are just like, this feels like, when you're reading something like that, and you're like, this feels too perfect. Like the story feels too perfect to be real. It feels too manicured, I don't know. A lot of them feel that way. So I don't know how many of them are legitimate. But a lot of those... I
haven't had my dream... it seemed like it was happening a lot when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Because I want to say my freshman year of high school was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then one time at Evangel.
Yeah.
But like, I don't... Or at least not that I remember.
Yeah, interesting.
So... and like by a lot, I mean like maybe 4 or 5 times total.
Yeah.
Which is...
A lot. Yeah.
I was like once a year there for a while.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I'm due for another visit.
Yeah. I mean, that was...
It's kind of like the dentist. You go a lot for, a little while, and then you don't go for like 10 years.
Yeah. And then you show back up and they pull a bunch of your teeth. And they're
like, you're messed up, dude.
Yeah. But you're really not. Like, no one else knows. Yeah. Everyone else is like, your teeth looks fine.
I'm going to be in the Hatman streams being like... I got that.
His teeth, he's got so much gums.
Do you floss?
When's the last time you flossed? I think that's what they do is like...
Do you pray? I almost got into a fight yesterday. And that's actually like what I thought. I was like, dang, how cool would it be to just cock your head like this? you're getting ready to get into a fight. Someone's squaring up, and you just go, "Do you pray?"
And then just punch him in the chin.
And then just get the lights knocked out of you. You know what I'm saying? Like freaking.
Wait, hold on. Get the lights knocked out of you. Like you're saying,
like they're beating me up. Yeah.
Do you pray? And then they kick the crap out of you.
And then they just freaking beat the heck out of you, man.
That's really funny. Hey, thanks for checking out our show. If you like it and you want to support, be a part of what we're doing here, you can do that by becoming a patron. What happens there is you get to be in the community. We have a Discord with our hosts and producers. We have a lot of fun. We're super active in there every day. You get access to ad-free content a week before everybody else. And we have a Zoom every month with our patrons. We hang out, we eat pizza, we get to know you a little bit better. It's a blast. And there's a ton of other different benefits like merch discounts, birthday messages, things like that are super cool. If you want to be in that, you can just text TILLN to 66866, and that'll get you right in there. If not, we're just super glad that you're here, and thanks for watching our show. So on this guy's site, and even on Reddit, a lot of these stories were people saying, "Oh, this happened to me when I was a kid." And so there was 80s and 90s, and there was a huge volume of that. So nowadays,
interesting.
There's still people who is happening in dreams.
I can remember vaguely stuff like that when I was a kid, but I wouldn't have associated that, like, because I guess I associated that guy with the recurring dream that happens where I go in and murder innocent people. I don't know. Maybe they're not innocent. Who knows? I don't know the backstory. I'm just a hitman.
You're just one of the bald guys.
I'm just one of the bald guys. But I can remember like moments of like, you think, like, I remember one time I woke up and I thought it was my mom in the hallway right outside my room. And I remember being like, "Mom, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
And then they just walked away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was the Hatman.
I don't remember specifically if there was a hat on my mother. I don't, but I couldn't, remembering that, I remember that very clearly, but I don't, I'm like, I remember it thinking it was my mom, but maybe it wasn't my mom. I don't know.
Interesting. So then
I had a very similar experience at a Hampton Inn in South Bend, Indiana.
Is that real?
I woke up and I was like, "Mom." No, I just thought that was funny.
That is funny. So the
Hatman Inn.
So 80s, 90s, a lot of people said they had experiences with this.
Sure. So
more people started sliding into the chat and saying, "Oh, I I don't have a story of the Hatman, but like pre-80s, like 70s, 60s, 50s, I experienced something similar, but it was more of just like a shadow figure. Like
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
It wasn't a Hatman. And so that kind of gets us into a handful of theories of what's going on here.
Okay.
So obviously there's the possibility that this is just a dream or some figment of everyone's imagination. That's a possibility.
Sure.
And then the drugs, I mean,
well, it's kind of like
just be a
the shared
hallucination.
dream that people have, like your teeth falling out.
Yeah.
You know?
Or this man. Or Slender
Sure.
Man. Like there is a power of suggestion thing where if like it becomes something in the zeitgeist and culture, like you're gonna see it. Like when you buy a new car, you see that car everywhere. Like
Yeah.
people are talking about it on Reddit and you spend a lot of time on Reddit, then you start to dream about this guy because
Sure.
it's just kind of in the back of your mind. And so like that's possible. And I would say a lot of people who've experienced this, that could be it. But for cases like yours, like obviously like you didn't know this was the thing. And so there's a couple possibilities for that scenario.
Okay.
One of them, have you heard of jinn?
No. I don't even know what that is.
Good. So jinn are essentially the way I said
More of a
essentially.
rum guy.
Jinn are essentially like demons in like Near Eastern.
Oh, okay.
Culture.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Well, a lot of times today you would think like genie.
Sure.
That's kind of where it's derived from, but they're more demonic, the jinn, and they go back to ancient times. In Latin cultures, they're described as like incubus and succubus, and so these are the same things. The concept is it comes to you in your sleep and it wakes you up in your sleep, and harms you in your sleep and makes it to where you can't wake up or hurts you or it kills you all within your sleep.
Okay.
What a lot of people think is that is just an ancient explanation for sleep paralysis. Which, if you don't know what sleep paralysis is something that doesn't have a ton of research around it yet, but sometime in like the 90s, early 2000s, medicine was able to say, okay, yeah, this is definitely a thing where there's some sort of connection in your brain where when you go to sleep, like it paralyzes your body.
Yeah.
But there's a thing where while you're still in REM sleep, you can wake up, like you can become conscious, but your body's still paralyzed, so you can't move.
Right.
You're still physically asleep, but you're conscious. And there's not a ton of research into this yet, but there's some theory that you can be fully conscious in that sleep paralysis, but also still be in a dream state. So you can start to dream while being fully conscious.
Right.
And so that would explain these shadow figures because you're seeing nightmares in your room, in your space, while you're fully conscious, you're still dreaming.
And your brain is still creating images.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the kind of explanation for like the jinn and the succubus and things like that is that was an ancient culture who didn't understand all that. They just knew that some people would wake up in the middle of the night and there would be something there.
Sure.
Interacting with them in some way. And then they couldn't move. They had like total power over them until they then woke up.
Right.
And then the thing was gone. And so could it be just part of sleep paralysis? Sure. Could it be a demon? Sure. Could it be jinn? Sure. There's
Gonna leave it open, you know?
you just gotta do your own research.
Could it be aliens?
Could it be aliens? Oh, that's a good question, actually. Because here's something that some people have pointed out. Looks a lot like the Men in Black, does it not?
I don't like the way you said it. Oh, looks like, looks a lot like the Men in Black, does it not? Why'd you say it like that?
Well, that's how he talks.
Like you're some Brooklyn guy who's just like, oh, we got him.
We got him. He's the Men in Black.
He's cod red-handed. Looks a lot like the Men in Black, if you ask me. Like a freaking 50s detective who just like really followed a hunch. Well, I don't know, but looks a lot like the Men in Black to me.
He does, though. He looks just like him. Here's the thing. So some people think it is a Men in the Black.
Men in Black aren't aliens.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not.
Okay, hold on. Let's take a second. Let me teach you a little bit about the Men in Black for a second. The Men in Black are totally aliens. People think the Men in Black is a government organization. It's not. So the whole story of Men in Black is that the reason why there's this cover up around the aliens is
Connor, could you like cut it pretty hard? Could you just like, because like I don't care. And so like if you could just like cut it and then we just go on. I love that.
The reason why there's like this cover up, it's not the government covering it up. It's the aliens.
I remember.
And the Men in Black are aliens or androids or something.
No, they're not.
And they're made to look like us, made to look like people we could trust that come and be like, hey, you got to leave this alone. But they're controlled by the aliens, whether they're androids or whether they're aliens in some weird skin suit. But if you look at firsthand account of people who have experienced Men in Black, they're always
it's like
weird.
their face opens up and they're like controlled by the thing or whatever.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, but people will say like, oh, well, I've tried to like there's stories where people will have the Men in Black show up at their home. And
you're talking about real life stories. No, you're not talking about the movie.
I'm not talking about the movie. They'll offer them drinks.
I'm not talking about the fictional movie. I'm talking about real life happenings.
Men in Black. They'll offer them drinks. They'll offer them food, and they don't know what to do with it. And so like they'll try to eat, but it's like clear that they've never done it before, or like or they'll talk. I'm sorry. Have you ever done this before?
How bad do you have to do it to look like you've never done it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, this guy's never ate before.
That's a fun bit, dude. We should go to a restaurant and they sit down and we just look at it and go.
Cut up the broccoli and just kind of like shove it in your ear a little bit.
Like you're just gonna do
like,
sleight of hand match.
Made it disappear.
And the server goes, all right.
Are you ready for the bill? What is Bill?
Who's Bill?
Well, that's the thing. Like they'll say stuff like that. They'll be super monotone. Their skin's weird. Their lips are weird. That's what is always said about them.
Dude, that's what the YouTube comments say about us, bro. Their skin's weird. Their lips are weird. I don't like these guys, man.
But the Men in Black are the aliens coming to cover up their own existence. So this is the aliens coming to people in their sleep to either give them a message or to be like, hey, you're digging into the alien thing a little too much. You need to back off.
Lay off the conspiracies and the Benadryl.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about Benadryl? So that's a possibility, is that it's actually the Men in Black. Could be aliens, could be the Men in Black, could be demons, could be just hallucinations. Or, honestly, here's what I think. This is going to be a surprisingly normal thing. You're going to be disappointed at how not crazy this is.
Okay. That's one of your intro quotes right there.
80s, 90s is when this got like started to really, or I should say, we don't know exactly the timeline. We know people who were born 80s, 90s.
Sure.
Would reminisce about this when they went back into this blog to say, oh, I experienced this as a kid. There was a popular man who wore a hat.
Yeah.
Who came in people's dreams.
That makes sense.
And killed people in their dreams.
Oh, I like the first one better. We don't got to see him.
Okay, sorry about that. But literally the story of Nightmare on Elm Street is he existed in the dream world, not in real life. And he would come in your dreams and he wore a fedora and he killed people in their dreams. And then
show us the next
got you stuck in your dreams.
His skin's weird. His lips are weird.
And so I think what happened, here's what I think happened.
Yeah.
I think people always...
That actually tracks. Because
I think people always see weird shadows at night in their rooms.
I don't want to see the hat
This is something
ones.
that has always happened. I think people will always in corners or in doorways be like, wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh, there's something there. And I think your brain tries to explain it.
Do you think that
this was a possible explanation was Freddy Krueger, then it became a popular one. That became something that existed on the internet somewhere. Someone took a bunch of Benadryl, saw it, and made it, and like had a hallucination, and then talked about it in his Reddit blog.
Yeah, but also
really
like
popular.
if you are intending to hallucinate something,
then you're
much more likely to happen.
Probably going. Yeah.
So, oh dang it! I just had a good follow up, but It's gone now. The Hatman just came and
Like,
grabbed it out of my head.
Don't say that
a
one.
little bit.
Yeah.
Oh. I thought I'd buy myself some more time. Maybe it'd come back.
Act like you know it, and then maybe you will.
No. For real, though. So do you think that when you wake up, because your body is in like a... Because I mean, like, I'm just thinking like, you know, people always talk like primitively. Like if you wake up in the woods...
Yeah.
Like your body is on the highest alert.
Yeah.
And your brain is doing the fastest assessment that it can.
Yeah.
Because you've been unconscious until this moment and now it has to catch up.
Yep.
And so it's also, that's, you know, when you wake up, you're at your highest alert.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why the alarm, a lot of times you'll jump or whatever.
Yeah. Which is why I sprint down the hall every time the alarm goes off in my house.
Yeah. Just freaking going for it. Are you out of breath from that? But yeah, I mean, like you wake up and your brain is trying to make sense of everything around you. And if there's a shadow or something, you know, that you're not used to, that's why sleeping in hotels is difficult, actually.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you wake up and your brain is like, I don't recognize this place.
Yeah.
We should get out of here.
We should go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I end up naked in the lobbies a lot, actually. It's pretty... I'm not allowed at Holiday Inns anymore.
Sorry, my brain told me I shouldn't be here.
What are you doing? My brain should have said I shouldn't be here.
All right, call the police.
We agree. You should not be here.
My brain agrees.
Goodness. That makes sense. That's actually a really good explanation.
I don't know why you saw him, though.
I don't either, but I would like, so I don't like, let's just say this is Halloween. All right. We've lived this month. This is my least favorite month because I don't like that scary movie trailers are basically the scary movie. I'm just trying to enjoy a freaking show that I like. And then I got to watch The Exorcist. I don't want that.
I didn't sign up for this. Yeah.
I straight up, that's what I'm saying. I did not sign up for this. Yeah. I don't want that. Yeah. Dude, I have to go through every year, every October, I have to go through and I have to block all these things on Twitter because they show these freaking videos.
Jaron is a scaredy cat. He's afraid of stuff.
I'm straight up telling you, I sleep in hotels rooms by myself. Yeah. And I do think that your brain goes, this is unfamiliar. I don't like it. And so freaking, it sucks to sleep in hotel rooms by myself.
Yeah.
With also the images of, did you watch Big Brother this week?
Not yesterday.
Okay. Well, it's, you know how they every once in a while do an episode, like the Buddy Games one they did, where it's an episode, but actually the whole episode is a commercial for one of Paramount's movies. Yeah. Well, Paramount's doing a new Exorcist movie, and half of Big Brother this week was a freaking Exorcist commercial. And the game is Exorcist themed. And so the little girl, the Exorcist girl, is showing up in the game.
Yeah. Speaking of complaints, though, Paramount Plus, driving me nuts, because when you land on the show, it plays you the most recent episode. Yeah. It just starts. How come no one there was like, oh, spoilers?
Yeah, they don't care.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
It drives me freaking
But also
bananas.
The people who are making trailers for movies have also given up on spoilers. Because that's what I'm saying, is that the entire...
put the twist in the... Because the twist is the best part.
I know. And they're like, we're
foot forward.
You know, and that's maybe that's because we don't trust movies anymore. But it really is an issue where they're like... by the way, it's a crazy twist at the end. And you're like, well, I don't want to watch it now.
Yeah.
Because you gave away the fun part.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's me. I was real passionate about that. And the next time I see the Hatman, I'm going to fist fight him. I'm just going to get up and I'm going to... Yeah. Actually, I'm going to go to his dreams and I'm going to fist fight him in his dreams.
Yeah. I'm going to cover... Oh, actually, never mind.
I don't like that. That sounds like you had an idea that you're going to do to me. That's not a fun time. Just that will give me enough anxiety to last the month.
That's great.
Big fan of that.
Happy Halloween, bud.
Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween.
All right. Well, hey, next time you see the Hatman, you should fiddle
off. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Things I Learned Last Night. If you like our show, please subscribe so you don't miss any more in the future. And then we've also got like clips and other episodes and a bunch of other stuff that we've created. We've been doing this show for a long time, but we're glad that you're here now. So please go enjoy our other stuff. Or if you hated us, please just block us. I know, never come back. Never be here again. I never want to hear from you.